If you love classic cars, then Donald loves you.
One of the terrific things about this exhibition, Balance and Power, The World on Two Wheels, 1885 to 1995, is the collaboration that we've had with other members of the Audrain team. One of those key members is Richard Hunter, and who not only has donated his time and energy and brain to helping put this exhibition together, but also loaned us a motorcycle as well. We're here to talk about a motorcycle which he did not loan, but to me is really fascinating. This 1954 Vincent Black Knight. And Richard, you know, this is a fully fared-in motorcycle in 1954, something that we saw in the 1990s as a sort of a super bikes and racing bikes for the road. This whole idea of aerodynamics and the clean design. Now, why, first of all, did Vincent do this model in this manner back then? And why wasn't it successful?
Well, those are very good questions, Don. And the short answer is Vincent believed this was what their customers wanted. All of their customers were interested in high performance riding. They were predominantly in the UK, which is not known for fine weather, and keeping the rain and the road dirt off the rider was a big thing. They asked their customers what they wanted, and they came up with this. And I suspect some of their customers said, well, that wasn't quite what we had in mind, and it really didn't sell well. But underneath here, and this is a very beautiful 1954 Black Knight, property of Wayne Carini. I believe it's from his personal collection, and he's very generously loaned it to us. Underneath this is basically a 1000cc Rapide, which was Vincent's basic entry-level 1000cc sports bike. The fiberglass front fender, fairing, enclosures for the motor, and the rear part are all made out of fiberglass. And in 1954, fiberglass was really a new material. There wasn't a lot of experience in working with it. And that's why it looks somewhat homemade and unfinished. You'll see very varying thicknesses of material. Clearly, it's difficult to make molds and get smooth curves. And the finish is really not that good. And I honestly think that when people saw this, it just wasn't quite what they wanted. And there were delays in producing it. It was launched, it was announced in 1954. They offered 3 models. They offered the Victor, the Knight, and the Prince. The Victor was based on the 500cc Comet, but was never put into production. The Knight, this one, was based on the Rapide, and the Prince was based on the Shadow. So you could have 3, the idea was you could have 3 different models with varying ranges of performance.
And noting the fact that you mentioned the fact that these were sporting bikes, known for their performance, and yet this was marketed sort of as a luxury bike. Now, was that also perhaps a point of disconnection with their potential customers?
Of course. This would have cost something in the region of £800 at a time when a good living wage was £10 a week. So it was a very, very expensive machine. But it was also still a high performance machine. The Rapide-based model, the Knight, would do 110 miles an hour. The Black Prince, with the Shadow motor, would do 125. And this is in an era when an MGTC would struggle to do 70 miles an hour, and that was considered a popular sports car.
Now also, Richard, what was the effect of the weight of these fiberglass panels as well on the handling of a very fast bike like this?
It can't have been good. It must have been difficult, but they did get around that. For example, they developed this very clever lever-operated center stand. So you can pull the machine up onto its center stand for parking very, very easily. But the fairing and the luggage and the tailpiece also were affected dramatically by side winds. So riding on a fast road on a windy day could be hazardous, especially with this large windshield.
You know, it seems that the best of intentions went completely awry, and as we discussed a bit before, the idea was terrific. If it had been realized perhaps in the 1960s or even the 1970s, a very different result could have happened.
Absolutely. And As we know from the scooter boom of the 50s and 60s, fully enclosed commuter transport was very successful, and companies like Ariel in 1959 introduced the Leader, which was a fully enclosed 250, almost like a 3/4 scale version of this. So Vincent was again ahead of their time, but unfortunately they couldn't quite build a product that was market ready.
Well, this is a great example of the incredible range of motorcycles that we have in the show. And Richard, thank you so much for lending your expertise and your enthusiasm and your knowledge to us.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Donald.